Yes, welcome to the 7-6 Live Countdown presented by Tissot. Hey, shout out to Tissot watches.
I'm loving the Tissot watch, Archie. You got to show this again. Love the Tissot watch. Thank you, Tissot. Hey, we are excited. Sixers basketball is here. As you can see, Squad 7-6 and the Sixers are full of energy. I have so much to say today. I first want to start by thanking the fans for putting in their NBA All-Star votes. Archie, it finally paid off, and why?
Ben Simmons is on his way to the All-Star game for his third year in a row.
Three-time NBA All-Star Ben Simmons, congratulations. We are super excited. We got two Sixers in the NBA All-Star game, Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. I couldn't be more excited. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the Sixers app before we get into our basketball. You got to download the app. Archie, why do the fans have to download the app?
Well, just because you're not here doesn't mean you can't be here and get that in-arena experience. We got the updates on news, we got games you can play, podcasts you can listen to, and so much more. In fact, the Wendy's Frosty Freeze-Out is back.
That's right, the Wendy's Frosty Freeze-Out is back, baby. Come on, Squad 7-6, hold up the Wendy's signs. You know how this goes. The opposing team in the second half goes to the line for free throws. When they miss 2 consecutive free throws, you're getting yourself a Wendy's Frosty. If they do it twice, that's a Wendy's Frosty, a small fry. And 3 times, the third time, you're getting yourself a medium fry and a medium Frosty. As Philadelphians, we couldn't be more excited about that. Stick around for more fun. Sixers basketball is here. Get ready, get set, because here they come. Let's go, Sixers!
And how about Christian Crosby burying the lead, as they say in the business? Christian going back to the All-Star game for the 4th time, tying Joel Embiid for the most appearances at All-Star Weekend from the 76ers family currently. That's more than Doc Rivers, more than Ben Simmons. Christian Crosby is the best, and that is why the man is heading to Atlanta in a few days. Welcome into 7-6 Live Countdown presented by Tissot. Yes, Lauren Rosen, the first time we're speaking in this form since we found out about reserves on Tuesday. Hooray, Ben Simmons. Bummer, Tobias Harris. Congratulations, Christian Crosby.
Yes, indeed. Always great to see members of the Sixers family featured at All-Star. Doc Rivers, of course, will be going down with the staff to coach Team Durant. So big congrats to Doc, to Christian Crosby, to Ben Simmons, to Joel Embiid. And I think next year, Tobias Harris will be there as well.
I would agree. Doc Rivers said after the game on Tuesday, a win for the Sixers in which Tobias played great against Toronto, that sometimes your first All-Star season is the season before you make it. And I think that that's very much the case in terms of what we saw happen this year. Tobias having such a great season just didn't work out from only 7 slots available. But I loved, Lauren, seeing him come out and play a terrific game against the Raptors in a good win for the 76ers on Tuesday, 109-102. Tobias stepped up late, helped the Sixers seal the deal, and it was great to see the Sixers not only split that 2-game road series, but clinch their 3-game series win on the year against Toronto.
Yeah, and that's just who Tobias Harris is, Celts. We heard it from Doc Rivers just moments ago in pregame. He said Tobias Harris is the ultimate professional, and that's something that you can't always necessarily tell from the outside looking in, but we can attest to Tobias being just the ultimate pro. He's bringing it every night. Even when he gets tough news like he did the other night, he still brought it, led the team like you said. Finding guys, he's talked about his chemistry with a guy like Ben Simmons, hitting him with the hockey assist to find Danny Green for the final shot there. It's been cool to see the way this starting lineup especially has gelled. There's Matisse Thybulle with one of his trademark come from behind blocks. But yeah, if Tobias Harris is who we're focused on, you got to give him props for the way that he came out and really led the team to a victory here, one that they really wanted.
Loved also seeing on Tuesday the 76ers knock down some 3-pointers to get out and running early on in the first. And Lauren, it's terrific to see the center as your backdrop here on 7-6 Live Countdown presented by Tissot as we see some of the highlights from this game, because that means the 76ers, after fighting on the road in this series against the Raptors, always a difficult team as Ben Simmons closes in on the block there on Norman Powell. The Sixers back at home at the center for 4 straight before the end of the first half of the season.
Yes, indeed. Always so nice to be back in this building. The vibes are excellent. Of course, it's nothing like it is with our fans, the best fans in the NBA. We miss you dearly. We hope you are staying safe and getting ready to come back when it is safe. But yes, we are back at the center for the next 4. The team will face Cleveland, Indiana, and Utah before the All-Star break begins next week. 4 straight at home, where this team is the best in the East. I'm sure they will embrace the opportunity to get some wins here at home.
As you see, we're about 80 minutes away from tip-off tonight between the 76ers and the Dallas Mavericks, a nationally televised game. 76ers coming in with a record of 21-11, a half game in front of Brooklyn for the top spot in the East, while the Dallas Mavericks are 15-15. A couple things to unpack, Lauren, from that victory on Tuesday down in Tampa. Sixers had a void in the starting lineup. Seth Curry was ruled out due to an ankle situation. Doc Rivers said a few moments ago he expects Curry to be available tonight, but the Sixers needed to replace Curry in the starting lineup on Tuesday, and who did Doc go to? None other than Furkan from Turkey, and he responded. He was great.
He was wonderful, 16 points in the first quarter alone. And Furkan said postgame, I know we're going to hear from him, that he needed that type of outing. He knew he was struggling, and he was really pleased that he was given the opportunity to come back in a big way, to be that spot-up shooter that the team really needs when Curry is out of the lineup. So just so great to see a good guy succeed, Celts. We love seeing the good guys get it done.
Something that Doc Rivers said after the game on Tuesday was, hey, you take away Seth Curry, he's the best active three-point shooter in terms of effectiveness and accuracy in the whole league right now. Where do you go to on the bench? Well, Doc and his staff didn't overthink things. They're like, all right, who's the next man up? Who's the best spot shooter on the roster? And there is Furkan Korkmaz. He had 16 total points his previous 6 games going into Tuesday. He exceeded that by 3 based on his final box line, which you saw. And during that 6-game stretch, he was just, as you can look right there, 1 for 16 from three-point territory. So I think, obviously, Lauren, Furkan very aware that he was due for a productive performance, and he gave the Sixers that.
For sure, and you can see it in these highlights, Celts, especially when they were going down the other way. Furkan's teammates adore him. It was really cool to see the way that they rallied around their guy when he heated up early in that game against Toronto. And good shooters, they keep shooting. Furkan certainly did that, and it was great to see him rewarded.
He's a favorite of the 76ers content squad, a favorite of all people for that reason, an international man, beloved by all. Just a great dude, Furkan Korkmaz, and I thought it was awesome to see him get back on track in the game on Tuesday. All right, afterwards, Furkan Korkmaz spoke about what he was able to do against the Raps.
I mean, for me, that was a good challenge today because I needed one of these games. Last 4 or 5 games, I was struggling. We can definitely say that. But Doug today, he trusts me. He gave me that confidence. He started me the game. And then I think I did a good job.
He did, and I thought that Doc Rivers made a great point, Lauren, after the game on Tuesday, is that if you're trying to assess, well, why was it different for Furkan in the game on Tuesday versus the previous 2 weeks? Furkan was playing with the starting group, and Doc feels that with the starters surrounded by that level of talent, that it takes some pressure off Furkan, perhaps not just from a mental standpoint, but hey, you've got all-stars, or should have been all-stars, 3 of them at least, that you got to account for if you're the opposing team. And if you have to perhaps give a little bit less attention to someone else, it's probably going to be Furkan.
No doubt about it. And that's feedback we've heard from Danny Green and Seth Curry all season long, too. Defenses have to give so much attention to Ben, Joel, and Tobias that it really does open up the rest of the floor. Furkan went on to say that in the same press conference we just heard from, that he loves playing with Ben and Joel. He loves the way that they attract attention to make his job easier. And it was cool to see him embrace the looks that those 2 guys were able to get him in that start.
Our buddy Devon Givens, who we do the Friday Deep Dive podcast with on the 76ers Podcast Network, new one coming out tomorrow in the middle of the day, by the way. He, I think, tweeted after Tobias did not make the All-Star reserve list, something like Tobias is going to have a 30-point game, something to that effect. Didn't have 30, but Tobias was terrific against Toronto on Tuesday. He went for 23. That was a team high. Really showed up late, as he's been doing more and more consistently in this season.
No doubt about it. Something else you and I discussed with Devon is that energy that Tobias Harris has brought to the fourth quarter. It's something that he's wanted to do the whole time he's been with the Sixers. He said he wants to be a go-to guy at the end of games, and this year he's really shown that he can do it. Look no further than that game winner over the Lakers. We saw it again on Tuesday in Tampa. This is a guy who's not afraid of the moment in the fourth quarter and knows how to deliver once he gets there.
Perhaps no surprise with this stat. This was the fourth time going back to Tuesday that Tobias scored 10 points or more in a fourth quarter this season. And each of those games, the 76ers have won. He was 4 for 5 from the field in the fourth for 12 points, 2 for 2 from three-point territory. And Lauren, sometimes I go a little bit crazy with these different stat permutations that I try to pull up on the NBA website. And I try to find these cutoffs to see where similar players are performing relative to one another. As you see Tobias going for the runner on that highlight. And for Tobias, players that have played at least 20 games this season, Tobias is amongst the top 10 in terms of effectiveness in fourth quarters. I think that if you've watched the Sixers all season long, you can just tell that based on the eye test. He's shown up late.
He's just so reliable too, Celts. You mentioned that that was a stat where he has to be considered among guys that have played at least 20 games. The games he sat out this season were because of health and safety protocols. It was not because of an injury or an issue that he had any control over. Tobias is a guy that is showing up every night with that productivity. He plays more games than almost anybody in this league, Celts. I remember when he was traded to the Sixers, he played in 83 games that year. He was reliable enough that he played more than a full season worth of basketball. And it's cool to see him bring that same reliability, that durability to the floor with some new levels up in his game. And it's showing up all over the place. So props to Tobias.
And I thought that it was really neat to see in that fourth quarter against Toronto, right? Amidst that three that we saw from the corner right before the highlight package ended, there was a nice play between Ben and Tobias linking up beneath the basket that Tobias put in the fourth quarter to give the Sixers some insurance. I think built the lead back up to 10, and then he knocked down a big three off of a dime from Ben Simmons as well. So good stuff from Tobias Harris. And Doc Rivers weighed in on what could have, perhaps should have been an all-star selection for his veteran.
I was really hoping for Tobias. I do believe he deserves it. He's been an all-star player this year for us. We have the best record in the East. And because of that, and the way he's played, I thought he deserved to be on it. I think we have to keep analyzing, how guys get numbers and how much they affect winning.
Well put by Doc Rivers, who's been able to coach Tobias Harris now a couple times in his career. And he spoke about that before tonight's game, Lauren, just some of the areas where specifically he feels like Tobias has made progress compared to when he had Tobias in Los Angeles.
For sure. He talked about Tobias's post-up game and his defense as two specific areas that Doc has seen a lot of growth from Tobias. He also talked about his efficiency and that late-in-game presence that he's able to bring. It really has been a year of well-rounded improvement for Tobias, holistic improvement. And for a guy that values holistic improvement so much, it's cool to see his hard work gratified in the way that it has been this year. Hopefully next year it gets gratified with an all-star bid.
One thing I love about when the team plays at the center, we get some live look-ins inside the arena for everyone watching at home. Danny Green for the Sixers out there on the floor, getting set, 11 points, 5 boards, 2 dimes, 3 steals against the Raptors, his old squad that he run a ring with on Tuesday. Danny Green definitely checks the vibe list, Lauren.
Yes, indeed. And speaking of old squads, you see Seth Curry getting ready behind him, getting ready to face his former Dallas Mavericks teammates for the first time. I just saw Josh Richardson was able to wave from afar to that former Sixer. So it'll be cool to see the two of them both uniting with their former teams tonight.
No question about it. And I want to hear more from Danny Green, Lauren. I know that you had a chance to speak with him after shoot-around. What were the vibes after shoot-around today?
I sure did. It's always a pleasure to talk to Danny. He really takes an analytical look at how the team is doing up close from far away. We reflected on the season thus far, and we looked ahead to the 4 games that are to come before All-Star. Take a listen.
Danny, looking sort of at a bird's eye view of the season thus far as you head into the All-Star break, what are you most proud of that the team has done, and where are some adjustments you're hoping to make before the break comes along?
I'm proud of, I guess, the position we're in. I honestly think even with some of the ups and downs and some of the downs, I guess, where we felt we gave or let some slippage happen. We know we could be better. We want to be better, but we're still in a good position. We fought even with COVID issues, even with schedule issues, even with traveling issues, all types of injuries. Guys have come to play every day. So I'm proud of that. And we've made adjustments. We've come together as a group, but we can grow in many areas. For us, sky's the limit. We have a lot of potential. We know we have the pieces. We know we have what it takes to get it done. It's more so of us handling our own business, maturing mentally as a group, and getting over that hump of playing the same way every night for 48 minutes. And that's always a challenge for every group. But for us, we know we have the talent to do it. We have the depth. We have the pieces. We just got to do it every night.
Now that we did bird's eye, if you zoom in as someone that's been around this league for a while, when you think of a young stud like Luka, do you get excited to play guys like that? And what makes you most excited to see them, especially if it's only once or twice a year?
Yeah, I think anybody that's a defensive guy loves to take on that type of challenge. And I've always hung my hat on that end of the floor. I know Ben has, Matisse has. Those guys will probably, most of us will be guarding him most of the night. I know there'll be switches where everybody's going to be guarding him at some point. But he's a top player in this league, MVP caliber player, obviously all-star. So when you have those type of guys come in your building, or you play against them any night, even in their building, it's always a fun challenge. Unfortunately, we don't get a chance to do it in front of our fans, but I think it'll be a exciting, interesting night, especially for guys that are playing against old teammates or old teams. It always makes that interesting as well. But when you get a top 5 or top 10 special talent in the league to play against any given night, it's always a fun time for the young kid in you to be able to prove to yourself and your teammates that you're able to, or capable of hanging with those type of guys.
Cool. Thanks so much, Danny.
Love hearing
in.
from Danny.
He's
Yes,
the
indeed.
best.
Sorry, you go.
He just takes
He's
these
the best.
strides, I think Danny,
Yes,
he's
and
one of those
speaking of-
guys where. Go ahead,
Go
Lonnie.
ahead.
I was
I was
just
just
going
going to say one thing before we got away. This is the problem with technology.
Show?
We've been so good, so many shows in a row that now we have to not get into traffic the way that we are. Seltz, I want to hear what you have to say. Please go ahead.
I was going to say, I think Danny Green always sets it straight. I also love the fact that he said during that availability that he feels like the 76ers have the pieces to be a championship team. Very confidently, very comfortably putting that out there.
And he's someone that knows. He's just won 2 championships in a row. So if Danny says you have the pieces, I'm prone to believe him. The only thing I was going to add, Seltz, from what we heard from just hearing Danny Green talk about seeing other players face their former teammates. Tonight is just a festival of former Sixers. We're seeing Josh Richardson out there just now greeting the coaching staff. Boban Marjanovic was out here earlier, who is always a favorite of the Sixers staff, Sixers fans. It was such a pleasure to have him here. And I know that they feel the same way about Seth Curry. This is a guy that's also loved and respected around the league. So it is cool to see those reunions. I wish fans, of course, were here to see those reunions as well.
As we look ahead to the Dallas Mavericks tonight, a team that is 15-15 on the season, 10th place in the Western Conference, but just outside of the top 8 spots in a very competitive conference. And listen, Dallas has played really, really well as of late.
Yes, indeed. Oh, look at that. This is what we are talking about. We got a quick little look there at Boban and Josh talking to some of their former coaches and staff with the Sixers. So always a pleasure to see those types of reunions. And I think that those guys would get a cheer or two from Sixers fans if they were here.
Of course. Absolutely. Look at that.
Especially this
abound. Guy. Dignitary of public relations for the Sixers, Patrick Reese on the left. DJ McClay, development coach, ace extraordinaire. There's Josh Richardson.
There he is.
2 quality guys.
2 of my favorites that I've worked with in this league.
I think,
yes, indeed.
I think 7-6 Live Countdown presented by Tissot tonight. We could just leave the camera on Boban the rest of the evening. I think that would engage
I would
well.
like that. I would tune into that programming, no doubt about it.
Boban, Josh and company, they're doing great. Josh speaking with Annalise Schmittel from the 76ers front office, heading up the team's development program. Josh spending 1 year with the Sixers last year. Just a real laid-back, easygoing dude. But yeah, he is back in the lineup for the Mavericks. He missed a couple games. Dallas was ravaged with health and safety protocols, much like the 76ers were. But now it seems like the Mavericks have found their footing after surviving and weathering that storm. And they've won 7 out of their last 9 games.
Yeah, and expectations were high for this Mavericks team. And I think it's really difficult when the expectations are high and then you hit some adversity that's totally out of your control, the way that this season has been for a lot of teams, not limited to the Mavericks. The Sixers obviously felt it just a few weeks prior. But yes, they have found their footing. They are led by a Western Conference All-Star starter in Luka Doncic, who we will talk about a little bit more in a little. But yes, back to the wholesome content. Love to see people reuniting and catching up. That's one of my favorite things about this league.
Luka Doncic playing at such a high level this season, nearly 29 points per game, 8.5 rebounds, 9 assists. He has been just tremendous. And Kristaps Porzingis questionable for tonight's game. He's missed some time, so he's in the mix as well. Yeah, it's a Dallas team that is solid. And listen, I think that they probably are going to make some noise out in the West in terms of just being able to get in the playoff picture. They were able to clinch berth to the playoffs for the first time in a few seasons last year.
Yes, indeed. I imagine that this game is going to be a nationally televised one for a reason. It'll be cool to see how these two teams face off if they are indeed both healthy.
All right. As I check my Tissot Chrono XL NBA Special Edition, it is time, yes indeed, for our Tissot Keys to the Game presented by Tissot. Lauren, lead us off.
I would be happy to, Celts. I went with a Mavs-centric key. I said, keep Luka on lock, and it's something that Doc Rivers addressed in his pregame media availability. He said that he's hoping that this team can find a way to keep Luka out of the paint as much as possible, because that's where he does so much of his damage, not just as a scorer, but as a passer, finding his other teammates, like you said, averaging more than 9 assists per game. So if the Sixers can keep him out of the paint, expect the usual suspects, some Ben Simmons, some Danny Green, some Matisse Thybulle, to have their hands full tonight with Luka. But if those three do a good job, I think this group can contain Luka, at least slow him down.
Yes, I like the 76ers defense, the way it was able to get back in certain ways on track the last couple games with the full personnel out there. And yeah, Ben Simmons against Luka, salivating for that matchup if that's how it plays out. My key is a battle of the big men should Kristaps Porzingis play. I think that Joel Embiid and Kristaps are 2 5 men who can do just a little bit of everything, and there's very little that they can't do. Biggest thing is that Joel's got about maybe 25 to 30 pounds on Kristaps. So who knows? Maybe Joel tries to really take him down low and get physical. But yeah, Kristaps has been playing at a high level before missing time. Should be an intriguing matchup between these 2 fifth-year bigs.
No doubt about it. I like that we covered a couple key matchups in this Tissot Keys to the Game moment.
Yes, indeed. But I think for the Sixers, definitely not taking the Dallas Mavericks lightly. Trey Burke, former 76er, is a member of the Dallas Mavericks. They also have Willie Cauley-Stein under the backup big man. So, hey, Jalen Brunson, quality players abound. And Rick Carlisle, one of the top coaches in the NBA. So I think this should be a good one. And the 76ers looking for a great way to start this homestand off. There we go.
Yeah, this one should be a lot of fun. You already see the camaraderie among the group. But in just under an hour, it will be all business between these guys. It will be at 7 p.m. on TNT or on 97.5 The Fanatic. See Danny Green, see Boban Marjanovic, Josh Richardson, and of course, all of your 76ers will be ready to rock at home.
I'm trying to think. Boban and Danny, have they played together? I want to say they overlapped in San Antonio probably, right?
That was going to be what I have to imagine, because Boban was in San Antonio immediately before LA.
Yeah, I think.
Would have to double check.
Yes.
But that math checks out. I bet they overlapped in San Antonio.
I was just curious. It's like I had to think about it for a second, because I just view Boban as one of those guys who, regardless of whether you've played with him or not, he's just going around and dapping you up, giving you hugs.
Well, that's the thing. He's so universally loved is Boban. There's not a single person in this league that doesn't love Boban. Look, he has to do the rounds. He's a popular guy. You got to see everybody.
It's Anthony Jackson,
Look,
one of our team security directors. think that's Sam Cassell
And of
over
course,
there.
Boban has been coached by Doc Rivers, so expect to see the two of them have a little moment as well.
So good. I mean, hey, I don't know what Ryan Coletti, our technical director extraordinaire, is doing for the rest of the night, but yeah, I mean, maybe next time we just have the live cam look in on Boban and see what greetings he's giving out during his pregame. And that's our stream.
The Bobby Cam. The Bobby Cam, you need it.
All right, Lauren, great stuff. Thank you. Thank you, Trevor Gaffney and Ryan Coletti on the sticks. We'll talk to you before Saturday's game. Yes, before Saturday's game. That's our next time up on the old 7-6 Live, presented by Tissot pregame stream. Enjoy the game tonight. Thanks, everyone.
Once again, we thank you guys for tuning in to the 7-6 Live Countdown presented by Tissot.
I love that, Archie, so much. The game can be checked out on TNT or 97.5 The Fanatic. Make sure you tune in. We can't be more excited for Sixers basketball. Here they come. Let's go, Sixers!